Today, we are going to pull back the curtain on one of the most powerful and honestly essential tools in all of modern tech, autoscaling. It's the invisible engine that keeps our digital world humming along, whether you're binge watching your favorite show at 2 in the morning or frantically hitting refresh on a shopping site during a huge sale. So, how does this magic actually work? Let's dive in. Okay, so this right here, this is the classic anxiety-inducing question that keeps developers and business owners up at night. I mean, do you over-prepare and pay for a bunch of servers that just sit idle most of the time, literally burning money? Or do you try to run lean and risk a sudden surge of traffic crashing your site and sending frustrated customers straight to your competitors? For years, this felt like a painful, no-win choice. And this slide just perfectly captures those two bad options. On one hand, you're prepared for the absolute peak, but you know what that means? Research shows your servers are probably running at only 15 to 20% capacity most of the time. That is a staggering amount of waste. On the other hand, you aim for the average, but the second you go viral or a big event happens, bam, you're completely overwhelmed. There has to be a better way.
And that better way is, you guessed it, autoscaling. So instead of having this rigid fixed number of servers, it creates an elastic environment. Think of it less like a brick wall and more like a rubber band. It's a system designed to automatically stretch or shrink its resources to perfectly match whatever demand is being thrown at it at any given moment.
And this is the core promise right here. You really get the best of both worlds. It's all about achieving that perfect balance. You save a ton of money by not paying for idle capacity, while at the same time making sure you have the horsepower to handle those sudden traffic waves, keeping your app fast, reliable, and available for every single user.
And the financial impact? It's staggering. We're talking about a potential 30 to 45% drop in infrastructure costs. Now, for any business, that's not just a small saving. That is a game-changing amount of capital that you can then reinvest into growth, all just by switching from a static to a dynamic model. But it's not just about saving money. It's about eliminating waste. With autoscaling, companies can boost their average resource utilization to an incredible 76%. Remember that dismal 15–20% figure we saw a second ago? This is the difference between a clunky, wasteful system and a lean, optimized machine that squeezes the most value out of every single dollar you spend. So this all sounds great in theory, but how does it actually work? What's the engine driving all this intelligence? Well, it's surprisingly elegant, boiling down to a simple, continuous loop that acts as the brains of the entire operation. It all boils down to this simple, powerful 3-step loop: monitor, decide, and act. You can think of it like a smart thermostat for your whole application. First, it constantly monitors the temperature, key metrics like CPU usage or traffic. Second, based on the rules you set, it decides if it's getting too hot or too cold. And finally, it acts, automatically turning on the heat by launching new servers or cooling things down by getting rid of them. This simple loop runs 24/7, like a tireless, automated guardian of your app's health. All right, let's break down the 3 key building blocks that make this loop work. First up is the auto-scaling group, or ASG. This is really the heart of the system. Think of it as the container for all your servers. Instead of trying to juggle dozens of individual machines, you just manage the entire group as one single logical thing. So you have your group, but when it needs to add a new server, what kind of server does it add? Well, that's where the launch template comes in. It's the blueprint. It defines absolutely everything: the operating system, the software, the configurations, making sure that every new server that spins up is a perfect, identical clone. And finally, we get to the brains of the operation, the scaling policy. This is where all the intelligence lives. It's the set of rules that tells the autoscaling group when and how to react. A classic example would be something like, hey, if the average CPU across all servers goes above 70% for 5 straight minutes, add 2 more servers. Simple as that. But that basic idea of setting rules has become incredibly sophisticated over the years. The strategies for scaling have evolved so dramatically, moving from just simple reactions to really intelligent, forward-looking predictions. So let's explore that evolution. This table really shows the evolution of scaling intelligence. We started with reactive scaling. That's the simplest form. A metric crosses a line and the system reacts. It works, sure, but it's always a step behind. Then came proactive or predictive scaling, and this is a huge leap forward. It uses machine learning to analyze past traffic patterns to forecast future demand, adding servers before the rush even begins. And finally, we have the hybrid model, which is pretty much the gold standard for most big apps today.
It uses that predictive scaling for all the patterns it knows, but it keeps those reactive rules in its back pocket for any totally unexpected surprises.
And this chart shows exactly why that proactive approach is so critical. By scaling ahead of the curve, you can literally slash response times during those predictable traffic spikes. That 32% improvement isn't just a number, it's the difference between a happy, loyal customer and one who just leaves your site in frustration. And this is especially crucial for complex applications that can take several minutes to warm up and get ready for traffic. This really visualizes the fundamental weakness of a purely reactive approach. There's this unavoidable delay, a lag time between when a problem is detected and when new resources are actually online and ready to help. And during those critical minutes, your existing servers are just struggling, performance is degrading, and your users are definitely feeling the pain. And this quote from Vitaly Bindikov just nails it. For what we call stateful applications like databases, things that need time to get ready and sync up data, a reactive approach is often too little, too late. By the time the new servers are online, the system is already overwhelmed. This is where that predictive intelligence shifts from being a nice-to-have to an absolute necessity.
So this brings us to one of the most important concepts in modern autoscaling. To do it right, you have to look beyond basic metrics like CPU usage. Truly intelligent scaling is tied directly to the signals that actually matter to your application and, well, to your business. And here's why. CPU usage is often a lagging indicator. By the time it's high, your users are already feeling the slowdown. Instead, smart systems look at leading indicators. Is your message queue growing? That means you need more workers, even if the CPU is totally fine. Is the number of requests hitting your load balancer spiking? Is the application's response time for users starting to creep up? These are the real, meaningful signals that tell you it's time to scale.
And really, the true gold standard is to create a custom metric that reflects your core business value. If you're a streaming service, why not scale based on the number of active video streams? If you're an e-commerce site, scale based on checkouts per minute. I mean, when you directly align your infrastructure's behavior with your business goals, that's when autoscaling transforms from just a simple utility into a powerful strategic advantage.
So where is all of this heading? We've kind of traced the journey from manually adding servers in a total panic to simple reactive automation, and now to this predictive, business-aware intelligence. But this journey is far from over. What's next?
Ultimately, this is the key takeaway. In today's world, the question is no longer if you should automate scaling, but how intelligent can you make it? The real competitive advantage lies in asking, how deeply can we connect our infrastructure to our business reality? How predictive, how efficient, and just how smart can we make our systems? Answering that question, that is the future of building resilient, cost-effective, and successful applications at scale.